So next up we have Ian McCracken from Balcas Energy. Ian has over 30 years experience working in the off-grid solutions. He joined Balcas in 2014 as Director of Business Development. Balcas as a company specialises in sawn timber, but since 2005 they invested in their energy centre, which produces both wood pellets and electricity out of their sawmill residues. So, and in that they're using those wood pellets in not just for the domestic sector, but also for industrial sectors such as milk powder and pharmaceutical. So Ian is going to speak to us today on the use of wood pellets in the transition to renewable heat. Ian, thank you very much.
Thanks, Noel. Thank you. You can rest easy. There's no gym work with Ian, but we'll fly through some slides here. Not quite yet. Well, we've got the right slides, Colin. That's a good start. Really, as Noel said there, Balcas has been making wood pellets since 2005. It's a supply chain that's well established now. We use our own residues. For people thinking of using wood pellets, we don't have an industry association in Ireland, but Balcas isn't the only supplier. There's Leaf Sawmills, there's Shamrock Renewables, there's Leinster Pellets. So there's quite a good, well-established supply chain, as Noel indicated. But what I want to show you today is technology that takes it to a new level. I came from a gas background, and really this powder burner technology I want to show you operates like a gas or oil boiler would. It operates instantaneously, it can respond to peaky loads, and it can decarbonise your industrial heat now. The roadmap for decarbonisation was produced recently by the Department of Trade and Enterprise and Employment. It suggested there was room to decarbonise heat in Ireland up to sort of 1.2 terawatts using biomass. And that's about 250,000 tonne of pellets. That's currently not made on the island of Ireland, but we have the residues from our sawmilling processes to go that far. And there's plenty of state support to help you decarbonise. You've obviously got SSRH, it's been mentioned a few times. You've SEAI grant, and you've the Green Transition Fund, the Enterprise Ireland, and the IDA. And everybody's, I think, well aware of carbon tax and the €100 a tonne that will be by 2030, which is the equivalent of 25 cents a litre of oil, carbon tax. So Balcas pellets and all the others made in this island are compliant with all the sustainable biomass regulations. As Noel said, we've been doing this for quite some time. We have an energy plant in Enniskillen on the back of our sawmill. We've one in Scotland, and we're now part of the Glennon Group, which for a company that supplies sawn timber and renewable energy, we have some scale. It's 900 employees, 400 million turnover. And we've 3 sawmills in the group that do not yet make wood pellets, so there's plenty of residues that we can make wood pellets if you have the heat demand for it. So what are powder burners? Basically, powder burners take the wood pellets and spray them into a normal boiler, shell and tube, in a horizontal fashion, just like an oil and gas boiler. The one on the left is a 16 megawatt powder burner. The 4 lads stand beside it. You can see the scale of that compared to what would be a 16 megawatt wood chip boiler. Obviously that has to be bolted onto the boiler plant, but there's no moving parts, and it's a lot less to maintain, run, organise than wood chip and other technologies. So the company IrBEA was bought by Vinci, who we have worked with the last 20 years and indeed built our 2 CHP plants, and also some plants we have around Scotland supplying distilleries. It's tried and tested technology, these powder burners. It's available in sizes up to 50 megawatts, really from 3 megawatts up. Very small footprint, similar to what your oil and gas boiler would be. No moving parts, as I said, so very low maintenance. There's no moving grates inside the boiler. It can be dual fueled, so you can also have gas or oil or biogas or bio-oil backup, or indeed you can switch between pellets and the backup, or you can run it totally on the other fuel. It's instant on and off, like oil and gas. There's no fuel in a grate, and it can be operated remotely. You don't have to have full-time people standing in the boiler house to operate it. It's also got a 4-to-1 turn-down ratio, so very similar to oil and gas. And as I said, it can do very peaky heat and steam profiles. And depending on the boiler plant, you can actually retrofit these burners onto your existing boiler plant. And what I just want to show you is a little 2-minute video of a system in Sweden that we've taken quite a few customers out to see.
Here we are in Hurlistad, near Örebro, at the food company IrBEA. IrBEA is one of the leading manufacturers of meat products in the Baltic region, employing a workforce of around 1,000 at its 15 production facilities. Here at the Hurlistad facility, they develop famous brands, including Littel's and Sibylla. IrBEA is constantly working to reduce the consumption of energy and other natural resources. This was the main reason for switching to a renewable energy source. Installing a boiler plant prefabricated by PetroBio has made the site virtually free of fossil fuels while cutting heating costs by around 50%. PetroBio staff replaced the fossil fuel burning boiler plant with a prefabricated boiler plant burning wood powder as the main fuel. The boiler plant meets all relevant standards, with cost effectiveness and availability given particular importance. PetroBio constructs the modules, which are then simply transported to the customer on normal goods vehicles. The boiler plant is quickly assembled to create an efficient unit supplying up to 6 megawatts of steam or hot water. At IrBEA, pellets are ground into wood powder, which is then fed to the burner to produce steam. The steam is used in the factory to heat water and food products and to provide general heating. IrBEA is very happy with the finished boiler plant and with the collaboration with PetroBio. IrBEA now has a reliable and sustainable energy source that helps it meet its goals regarding environmental responsibility throughout the food chain. PetroBio, with 50 years of experience making turnkey boiler systems, acts as turnkey contractor for entire boiler plants, including fuel handling and flue gas cleaning. It is constantly developing systems to keep pace with a changing market and tougher emissions requirements. These days we all need to focus on the environment, and with high fuel prices driving costs, it makes sense to prepare for the future. As a responsible business partner, PetroBio is not just trying to optimize energy production, but also to reduce negative environmental impact. Our research and development activities, combined with cutting-edge product design and production technology, help to reduce the harmful effects of combustion. Welcome to your project.
So you can see it looks just like an oil and gas boiler. It can operate on gas or oil if you want it to, or bio equivalents. But we're talking about pellets here. It's ready to go now in pellets. Yes, it's not perfect. You do waste a little bit of energy because you have to grind the pellets back down again. Why do you transport it in pellets? It's really the energy density and safety and getting it to site. But you use a small amount of energy to grind it back into dust just before you put it into the boiler. There's a hammer mill. Whoops, go back one. Apologies. No, doesn't do reverse. Flue gas treatment can be bag filters. It's all MCPD compliant. The little black box on the bottom of the ESP is the ash collection. Small amount of ash. Pellets is a low ash fuel anyway, but that little ash receiver is about once a fortnight it needs emptied. So there's not a lot of ash for this process. It doesn't have to be an ESP, but electrostatic precipitator, but that's the flue gas treatment in this particular plant and on the ones that we're installing currently. There are a few components. It looks large on this, but if you take them into what it looks like in a boiler house, which is, I'll show you a picture of shortly. This is a real life boiler. It's about to be commissioned in 2 weeks. It's in a distillery in Scotland on Jura for White and Mackay. That's a 5 megawatt boiler, steam boiler. You can see on the right hand side there's a fuel prep area where the pellets are taken, ground to dust, transferred to the boiler, and then they come out through the ESP for the flue gas treatment, and there's an economizer on it too, so it's an efficiency of around 91%. Keep pushing this button, sorry. That's what it actually looks like. That's the boiler house a few months ago. And as I say, the first commissioning load is going to that in 2 weeks' time, 21st of October. And that will be the first one operating in the UK and Ireland. We haven't got one in Ireland yet, so if you want to be the first, Paul and Colin are waiting for you just before you get out the door. And that's going to run 100% of that distillery. There's 3 others that have been ordered, and the installers are starting on those 6 megawatt they are. They're also in Scotland, and we can't tell you who that is, but they make black beer, if you know who they are. And there's 5 more about to be signed in Scotland. So we just need Ireland and Colum to do some sales and pick it up here. But this is, I think, new for biomass. It's going to move us into applications that we've never been before. It's a very, very small footprint on the site. That's the fuel stores for the likes of one of these distilleries. So it takes up an 8x4 footprint. So if you're on a tight site and you've thought about biomass in the past and you couldn't do it, you probably have the space here. It probably takes up less space than the system you want to replace. Deliveries typically take about 30 minutes. We use tippers. And that's, again, one of our distilleries in Scotland. Standard vehicles, readily available, and we just need a flat load bear in place to offload it. In terms of these units, PetroBio have a lot of them already installed around Europe, mainly in Sweden, and they're from applications from the likes of this factory to district heating, and asphalt production. So just in summary, if you have any of these, food production, breweries, distilleries, laundries, district heating, or asphalt production, the powder burner between 3 and 50 megawatts can decarbonise you now. You don't have to wait. Balcas' interest in this is very much as the fuel producer. We've got involved in installation only because nobody else was doing it, but if there's installers in the room and they're interested in working with us, we're very interested in having others help us move this out faster. So thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Ian, for that. Quick question on it. Is that a directly replacement for, you still use the same shell heating your heat exchanger, or is it a separate?
You can use the same shell.
Yeah.
The shell itself is a small part of the overall cost, but if it's a totally new one, it usually fits within the same boiler house.
Okay. Sure. Thank you very much.